history. The German army discovers a German drug. The rise of methamphetamine in the Wehrmacht is inseparably connected with an ascetic-looking senior staff doctor with a narrow face and dark brown eyes, which appear worryingly intense in the few photographs that survive of him. Professor Dr. Otto F. Ranke was 38 years old when he was appointed director of the Research Institute of Defense Physiology, a key position, even though no one would have thought so at the time. Back then, physiology was a marginal discipline in medicine. A holistic approach towards understanding an organism, it treats the interactions between the physical and biochemical processes of cells, tissue, and organs. Defense physiology, in turn, dealt with the specific burdens of soldiers with the aim of boosting the performance of the army in the face of excessive demands and a stressful environment. The military was starting to see itself as a modern organization, and soldiers were described as animated engines. Ranke's task was to protect them against wear, meaning incapacity. He was to oil the cogs of the machine, and functioned as a kind of performance coach for the German army, as well as a gadget inventor. Over the years, Ranke developed a sighting device for spotting artificial green. Camouflage uniforms within a forest, for example. New anti-dust goggles for motorcyclists. Tropical helmets that were both bulletproof and sweat-permeable for the Africa Corps. And directional microphones to help the counterintelligence service listen in on its targets. Ranke's Research Institute of Defense Physiology was a section of the Military Medical Academy on Invalidenstrasse in Berlin. A large building in 18th century neo-Baroque style, it is now home to the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. Curved gold letters read Scientiae Humanitati Patriae, in a relief on the mansard roof above the main door. To science, to humanity, to the fatherland. From 1934 until 1945, this was where the army trained its rising medical officers. The Prussian elite institution, known as the MA for short, had the biggest medical and scientific library in Europe, and a two-story laboratory building fully equipped with the latest technology, several big auditoria, reading rooms, a hall of honor with busts of Virchow, von Helmholtz, von Behring, and other doctors and researchers who had, it was said, each performed an immortal service for science. The complex also included the most modern gymnasiums and swimming pools, as well as a 5-story residential block with comfortable double rooms for the 800 trainee medical officers. These were known as Pfeifhahne, a complex Berlin play on the word Pepin, a derivative of Pepiniere, the former training institute for military doctors under the Prussian kings, which had turned out the cream of medical scientists in the 19th century. In their wake, the MA students confidently wore the Reich Eagle and the swastika on their smart uniforms. There were also a riding stable with 90 horses, several racing tracks, and nursing stables for sick horses, veterinary officers, and a smithy. The scientific departments were housed in the big block to the rear of the inner courtyard. The Institute for Pharmacology and Army Toxicology, the Laboratory for Serum Conservation, and the Aeronautical Medical Research Institute, directed by Professor Hubertus Strunghold, who would pioneer American space travel after the war along with Werner von Braun, as well as the Research Institute of Defense Physiology, run by Otto Ranke, which in 1938 consisted only of an additional auxiliary doctor, 3 medical interns, and a few civilian clerical staff. But the ambitious Ranke wanted to build up his department very quickly. He planned to do this through something he promoted for the Wehrmacht, a small molecule about to have a grand career. From brown bread to brain food. Ranke, the leading defense physiologist in the Third Reich, had one main enemy. It wasn't the Russians in the East, or the French or the British in the West. The adversary he was determined to defeat was fatigue, a strange antagonist, hard to grasp, one that regularly knocked out fighters, put them on the ground and forced them to rest. A sleeping soldier is a useless soldier, incapable of action. Fatigue causes your coordination to deteriorate. You fire randomly, and you lose the capacity to drive.